What's up, everybody? It's the Spiritual Life Passing Through, Miss Pat, and I'm back at you with another video. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about. We're going to take a little break from the studies a little bit and do a little story time with Miss Pat on adventures of adventures with Pat. Okay. When I went to China. You all literally on a day that I got up and I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go to China. And my daughter was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I already booked tickets. I was going ahead and go to China." And it was funny because I always go on vacation at the same time of the year. The year before I went to China, I went to Paris, and I went to Paris because my mom left me, unbeknownst to me, a ticket to Paris in lieu of her death. I didn't even know that she had did anything like that. So she left me a ticket. She knew Paris was a place that I always wanted to go. I dreamed about it since I was a little kid, and I never thought I would ever get a chance to go. And there was a gift that she left for me, that she gave to my daughter, and told her only to give it to her once she passed away, and that was the trip to Paris, and that's how I got to go there. And every time I go someplace, it seems like I can't never go back. Because when I went to Paris, I went to visit the Church of Notre Dame. I sat in there, and then a year later, on the exact same day that I was there in April, the damn place burnt down the next year. So, unfortunately, Paris, you know what I'm saying, the Notre Dame trip, going to the Church of Notre Dame didn't work out too well for the Notre Dame place after I left a year later. Then when I went to China in 2019, can't nobody go back now because it's all this stuff going on with the pandemic. So when I went to China, China is a different type of place to go to. And people are like, why did you go to China? When I go on trips, I go on trips alone. I told y'all, I am a true introvert, without a doubt. Okay, I do a lot of things by myself. And China is a good place for a woman to be able to go by herself and not have to worry about anything happening to her. Now, that doesn't mean you have to not worry about, the people you interact with, because China, they'll steal your damn organs and all kind of shit. So you have to be careful, especially when you black. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to keep your eyes on like you in the hood, okay? But it's not that bad if you wanted to go someplace and travel as a female by yourself. Just like Paris is another place that as a female, I don't mind going, okay? Um, but when I went to China, I went because before I did this channel, I was a reviewer for Chinese dramas. I mean, I got fans. I got different folks that I like as far as different dramas are concerned. And Vincencio, you can watch him on Netflix. This my boy. I mean, I like martial arts. If you was ever one of the people that watched the Five Deadly Venoms and all the Bruce Lee movies, you would have a friend in me because I'm that type of person. So I love that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I like Chinese dramas, and I saw them, and I got curious about China. Now, there were some things about China that were very interesting because I'm a history buff, so I like to understand the history. And their history, they stand on because they feel like they have the longest history in the world, and they can, you know, pretty much just go through the books and show their history of 500 years in being where they are. Now, they are very quiet about certain things. Us, okay? And especially when it comes down to that Great Wall. And when I went to the Great Wall had another type of energy about it. It was a very angry energy. Not only angry energy, it was an energy of wooziness. That's the reason why I never actually walked on the actual Great Wall. Something would not let me do it. Now, it wasn't because I was out of shape once I got up there to it, because you have to understand the Great Wall of China literally is humongous. This thing goes on for miles and miles across different mountains. And some mountains you can, some parts of the different towers that you get to are broken down over time, have deteriorated over time due to weathering and things like that. And to get up to the actual mountain, you have to literally spiral this thing all the way up to the top. And then even once you get to the mid top, you got to walk some more to get up there. And once you get up there, then you have the choice to walk, or you can take the little, what do you call that? It's like a ski chair thing up that thing. And I was like, I'm taking the chair thing because just walking up to the area where you wait in line to get your ticket had my hips burning. I never had a sensation of hip burning till I went on that trip. And me being the fashionista that I am was not really prepared to. I had the wrong kind of shoes on to be hiking. And I had on regular shoes, but I had on like wedge little slip on like gym shoes trying to be cute. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was going for hiking, so that was not a good idea. But either way, it was a good little hike. And I said, I'm not gonna make it in these shoes. So I got on the little ski lift thing up there. Now, one thing about that ski lift is that I am afraid of heights. And this ski lift that they had that we were on looked like they made this shit back in the 60s. And it was not the the safety provisions. They're like, it's like non-existent inside of China. So I'm like, this thing, is this thing safe? And before I can say safe, they sending you straight on up into the air. So I'm sitting real still in this damn chair, like, what possessed me to do this by myself? Why didn't I bring a friend on this trip? Okay. But I got up there, and when I got up there, the closer I got to the wall, the more woozy I felt. I felt this wooziness coming over me, like I couldn't breathe, like I didn't want to breathe, and I felt angry and upset, and it was just like a tired feeling that just would not go away from me at all. And the more I got closer, the worse it got. So that's the reason why I did not actually walk the area where you could walk up and down the Great Wall. Some people did it. A lot of people with cancer, you know how the Gentiles are. They're like, I have to do this because I have cancer. I want to say I walked the Great Wall of China and all that other stuff. So it's like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it was when I got up there, I did not feel well. And granted, it may have been the altitude. I'm not sure. But it was already starting. It was the emotions that I was feeling. So I knew it was something spiritual that was happening up there. And then once I realized that, and I started reading about this place, and it's not nothing that they have up there that lets you know who actually built that. It's when I started reading on my phone what actually happened up there is that there were slaves that they brought from all over the world to actually build this thing. Many of them died in the making of the Great Wall of China. Some of the people who made that who actually made this thing were some of the most amazing individuals that ever walked the planet. I mean, with eyes that were insane, because each tower is so many miles. Somebody took an arrow to literally line each one of them up and just shoot to let you know which direction and how they would keep on going with this particular wall. It was just, it would get to a certain point and boom. I'm like just think of the sportsmanship and the accuracy you have to have with eyes to see to the next tower. I mean, these towers had to be at least 10 to 20 miles. You understand what I'm saying? Away from each other. It's like 10 miles this way, 10 miles that way till you get to the next, you understand, the next tower. 10 miles walking is not exactly around the block, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? This is not a Chicago block downtown. This is like some serious miles walking. So it was interesting to be up there, and it just had a different feel. And when I found out that it was so many people that died and what color they were, it bothered me. And these people stayed in a place that they call it the Cooling Mountains. Now the Cooling Mountains in Chinese mythology is the place of the gods, okay? But this particular mountain is a place where black people stayed. And they called it the place of the gods because these people were bigger than them. They were stronger, but they were nicer and they would help them and things like that. But when slavery came into it, they enslaved these exact same people, okay? And they called them gods because they were really strong and they knew how to do things. But for some strange reason, Something happened, and they never go into it because I'm gonna tell you something about China. China is a place where these motherfuckers know how to keep some secrets, baby. They sneaky ass people. I ain't gonna sit up here and lie. They sneaky as hell, and they know how to keep a secret, and they know how to keep it well. So when it comes down to it, you will probably never find anything on paper documented because they know how to make their people shut the fuck up. They do. Or they make them know how to disappear and their entire families. So China's not a place you play around in at all. You understand? But when it came down to it being up there, you understood a lot of different things. And then in some of the histories, you would see the darker shaded people. Now, they work very hard not to get dark in China. They have their little umbrellas walking around with them. They bleach their skin on a regular. It is a thing that they try to look as hard as they can with everything in them to look westernized. They want everything that the Gentiles, that Edomites have. Okay? Everything about them has to match the ruling group of people, which I absolutely cannot stand about their culture. I feel like their culture is rich enough without them trying to be like Edomites, but they try real hard to do so, y'all, and it's really sad. And when I was there, being a black person or a brown person, and not seeing another brown person for miles, you have to understand, Beijing is a place where people are coming from all over China. Some people ain't never seen black people before. All right, even though Africa's next door to them and India's next door, some people ain't never seen people of color inside of China. So they gonna look at you. They gonna take their cameras out and I had this lady literally, I was sitting on a bench not that far away from this place called the Wung Fong Ting Street, and that's a night market. And I was sitting on one of the benches or whatever, just resting, and this lady comes up. And I'm like, is she taking pictures? And then she has her son try to go over to make it look as though she's taking a picture of him. But he's over here, and she steady got her picture, her camera looking at me, clicking pictures. And they did that to me a lot there. When I would eat, they were right there in my face, taking pictures, and stuff like that. They had never seen anybody black before. So you had to deal with that kind of stuff. I wouldn't eat nothing there. No. Wufontein Street is known for the exotic food. So when I went there, I was expecting, all kind of foods that's different and cool stuff. No, honey. They had birds that looked like they caught them in mid-air and just dumped their asses into some frying grease, and they just like this stuck. And they put them right there on the stick for you to go ahead and eat some chicken. I said, I don't think so. What the hell y'all doing on here? I'm like, who gonna find that tantalizing? That monkey brains, they eating, this man would hit the top of the counter and all of a sudden they would have these impaled scorpions on sticks and they would just go, I'm like, oh, no. I cannot do this. This is this is so nasty. And then, you have roaches. They had all kind of things that nobody would ever in their right damn mind eat. So many things I did not, embark on because you couldn't trust what the meat was. I never seen, they had these Flintstone pieces of meat on a stick that I was like, what is this? And people are just sitting there on the side, stooped down like they are in caveman times, just eating this stuff. I was like, I don't know. I've never seen a beef like this. I don't even know what that is. They eat a lot of pork there. And then they have these wet markets. And I'm like, this don't look clean at all. No, I don't want none of that. Okay? So, me and 7-Eleven hung out a whole lot over there. A couple of restaurants in the area where you can find some people that actually spoke English was pretty cool. But the trip itself was pretty cheap. Honestly, I went to China. Round trip was $500, $250 there, $250 back. I had to buy a visa, of course, and you have to wait for all of that in China. They do, watch you. So they are surveilling you the whole time. You got to tell them what your hotel is, when your flight is, when your flight out is, and you better have your ass on it. If you get sick there, that's another reason why I didn't eat any of their foods from their out on their street markets and stuff like that. Because if you get sick there, you cannot leave a country without paying a bill. So it's like, I don't need no issues. I ain't eating none of this strange shit. No, and have me in the hospital somewhere. And you can't drink their water. So that's another thing. And when I went to the Great Wall, that was another thing that got me is that one of the ladies that did speak English, she said, whatever you do, don't eat no fish here. And I was like, why? She's like, do you see an ocean anywhere? I said, good point. I was like, thank you. They eat no fish, no nothing. Okay. So it was a good trip in itself just to watch. And then they had a place called the Temple of Heaven. Now, this place was very strange. You can look it up online, but the Temple of Heaven is beautiful. It has all of these beautiful rainbows in it. When you go in there, the whole place is just nothing but a beautiful prisms of light just coming through this place. But you also have to understand that China does pray, are still idolaters. Okay, you know, they pray to statues, and they, you know what I'm saying, they make offerings. If you go to, even here in America, if you go to a nail shop or a Chinese restaurant, you're going to see the Jade Emperor in their businesses right at the door with their little offerings that they put in front of it every day. I don't know why black people do not see that stuff when they go around them, but they are still idolaters to this day. They do still pray to statues and offer offerings and all that kind of stuff. China's supposed to be Buddhist, but they really ain't even with that either. They not. It's just weird. Okay, they Confucius a little bit of Buddha, but at the end of the day, they ain't believing on too much of nothing either. Okay, but when it comes down to traveling over there, yes, that place is sad. It's sad. It's very sad. But the way that they have it set up, you have to understand how China's set up. Beijing is the capital. That's the head dragon. And you understand? And the actual Forbidden City is the head of the dragon. That's where the emperor was to stay. And then as the body goes out as the main part of the city, and then the tail is the Great Wall of China. You get it now? It's a very interesting situation over there. Like I said, I wanted to go over there because number one, something told me and stopped me in the tracks. And right around the time that I started to understand that the spirit was talking to me, a spirit said to me, the great chessboard has changed and you need to move quickly. And I was like, move quickly. And that's when I started doing a lot of things at that time, and traveling was one of them. And something told me I wasn't going to be able to travel too much, so I might as well make this a big trip. And strangely enough, in 2019, I went to China, and then right afterwards, look what happened. Can't go back to China. Ain't nobody trying to go to China, not even Shanghai for that matter. You understand? But I did have a good time inside of China, even being by myself. I think people need to go to some of these different countries. If it ever gets, I doubt if it ever gets good enough for us to be able to travel as Americans. Because as an American black person, to be honest with you, China, the Chinese people are very curious about us. They are very curious. I had a good time with them because they were interesting. The whole trip was interesting. I got offered, I got kissed on by old Chinese men who wanted a new wife. I thought that was weird. I got proposed to with a sweet potato. And I didn't even know when I was accepted. This dude came over with a sweet potato. And he was dark. He was a pretty boy. I was like, you are so pretty. Oh my God, he's gorgeous. He looked like a model. And then I said something to him, and then he's a younger person, so they know how to speak English more than their parents. And I guess he went and told his mama. And because he's a dark child, it's hard for them to find people. And I didn't even realize all of that till it was explained to me later. But I thought he was so pretty. I was like, oh my God, you are gorgeous. And he was like, thank you so much. You think I'm nice looking? Everybody shuns me because I'm dark. I'm like, baby, you are beautiful. You need to go to America and become a model. He brought his whole family over and they gave me a sweet potato. And I was like, thank you. I was like, what is this for? And they was like, he is wonderful and he would be a good husband. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I just like, he's wonderful and you're brown and he's brown. And I'm like, y'all trying to give me your child with a sweet potato? I'm like, I'm not trying to get married. I mean, they literally had the sweet. They like, you be good for him, and I'm like, girl. I'm like, no, you got your little sweet potato back. I just told he was nice, and the boy like, you make me feel so warm. I said, excuse me. And he's like, warm, very warm inside. I'm like, what does that mean? And the sister was like, oh, I think you thinking wrong. Not that warm down there. I'm like, oh, okay. Terrible. I said, I think he is beautiful. He is a beautiful, beautiful man, gorgeous man. I was like, but I said, how old is he? She's like, oh, he's 25. I'm like, he's old enough to be my child. And they was like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm almost 40 something years old. She's like, you kidding? I'm like, yeah, he old enough to be me and you could be sisters. She's like, oh, we're so sorry. She's like, you don't look that old. I'm like, yeah, I am that old. It's like, oh my God, your face, your skin. It was hilarious. I like, y'all trying to sell y'all son with a sweet potato into marriage. But, y'all, that was part of the funny part. I have to say, it was some times where I ate certain types of food. Now, they had this one thing called bunza that, honey, I just got to go back to Beijing to get. It tastes like my grandmama's sweet rolls with the best Italian beef or the best Philly cheese steak sandwich. Meat inside of it, baby. Woo! I was like, I ate that the whole time I was there. I was like, this is the bomb. This tastes like something my mama made. Honey, I kind of come back here to Chicago and eat them. They were gross here. I'm like, in Beijing, you have to go to Beijing to get the authentic ones, but they were really, really good in Beijing. That's about the only thing I ate there. And I ate regular sandwiches, honey, out of what is it? Out of 7-Eleven, because I could not trust the meat. I did not trust their meat. I don't know where their meat was coming from. And then they told me, don't eat no fish. I ain't eat none of this stuff. I was like, I'll eat something that's been pre-made or whatever, processed, because you don't know over there. You can never tell what's going on with China. And like I said, they safety standards are way below America's. I mean, I looked at how people went to work in the morning. I would come outside, and this was when I was still doing cigarettes. I would come outside to have a cigarette out in the hotel, and the first thing, everybody up in the morning, they got women with the babies tied to them with a sheet. One baby's on the bar of the bicycle. The other baby's on the back of the bicycle where you put, clamp down your bag and holding on to mama with dear life. They like, if there was a theme song, every day I'm hustling. I'm like, they would have that song. I'm like, honey, that is getting to school or getting wherever you got to go by hook or by crook, baby. These people ain't playing no games. And the driving there was just so awful because China has just not been introduced to cars. It took them like in the 80s when the cars started coming in. So they really ain't been driving a long time. So people just drive. Okay, and then you have all these people with bikes. And if you got a scooter, you the shit in China. But they just drive. It's just, if you get hit, you get hit. And they just run right over your ass and keep going. It's really insane. The safety situations there are just crazy. And then they do have a lot of men that are looking for women. So when I was there, I was very shocked at how men came out at you, because I had this one man, I was walking down the street to the Forbidden City, and this man came out his restaurant and said, "You gonna be my wife." I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally, I was on FaceTiming my daughter, and my daughter's like, what's going on? This man stood up there and kissed me all in the face. I'm like, could you back up, bro? What's going on with you? I need a new wife. You are her. You are beautiful. I have this. He's like, I have this restaurant. I own 3 of them. Is that enough money for you? I'm like, I'm not looking for a husband, baby. You understand? I'm like, I'm okay. He's like, but you need one. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm good. I'm really good. This man had a strong arm in my ass. I mean, he was tiny, but he was really, really strong on me. And I'm like, bro, could you please get off me? When he realized how strong I was, he was like, oh, I like that. I like a woman who knows how to fight. I was like, back. I like literally ran away from these people. It was terrible. That was terrible. Then I ended up going to this place called Silk Road. Silk Road is like the place where you can go buy all kinds of stuff at. You can literally get a suit made on Silk Road. While you go shopping, 2 hours later, you have a brand new whole outfit. Okay? I took advantage of that, honey. I have some pieces, baby. But I love that place. I have brought my uncles and them, satin, not silk ties and cufflinks to match it, all kind of stuff. I went crazy over there, but I also knew how to bargain, and that's another thing about China. China is about bargaining. They nothing the price that they say it is. Now they really get over on white people, but on me, I'm like, I came from the hood, baby. I know these some $20 purses. Okay? You better get the $20 holler from down the street like I get from the people here. From the hair salon, the Chinese shops here. And like, if I give you this for this much money, I ain't gonna make no money. I'm like, well, you gotta make no money, and I'm not finna buy. They like, come on back. I'm like, how much you want for it? They like, how much you want to pay? I mean, we went back and forth till I got exactly what I wanted for how much I want to get at $10. Give me that bad boy. Give me that Louis Vuitton for $10, honey. And this coach over here, I came home with so many purses, y'all. I have so many purses that they don't even have made here in Chicago. That's what it's like. And then people like, that's a coach. I'm like, that's a Bally. I'm like, yeah, those are all knockoffs that I bought for $10 in China. I ain't spending no damn $1,000 for no damn purse. Are you crazy? But I had a ball there. The first day I went to the Silk Road, I got ran up out of there because I had never experienced this. Buy this. I mean, they was just on you. Like, I literally had to go outside, and I'm like, I need a damn drink after being in here. I'm like, I've never been overbearing by people wanting you to buy shit. I'm like, this is insane. And because you are black and American, they know that black people like certain stuff. So they going to cater to you more. But you can't come in there and think that you are going to, they going to try to finesse. They going to try to finesse you into paying something higher than what it is. I'm like, this China, baby, I don't know this shit real. I know this. They was like, they had never seen a woman like me. I went the first day, didn't buy nothing because it was just, they were just trying to do too much, and it turned me off. And I said, I'm going back to the Silk Road today. I am ready to bargain. They teach you how to bargain inside of China. They really do. And I had a good time doing that time. I came out there with so many bags, it wasn't even funny. And you would have thought I was rich. But I didn't even pay that much money for the stuff. That was the part that was hilarious. Is that I didn't pay hardly no money for half the stuff that I bought. And when I came back here to Chicago, people were like, where you get that bag from? Where you get this from? They didn't even have that kind of stuff on this side of the world. At all. Not even in New York, where you get stuff in New York quicker. But they didn't have any of the bags that I have, nobody got. Not in America. So, but I'm also a good person with good taste, and I like things that are odd. And I bought a couple of my cousins some of the mail bags that nobody had that, fit across you like that and everything. So I had a good time with that. But the Silk Road, that place there is amazing. Amazing place. You get real pearls, all kinds of stuff. China was okay. When I left, I was ready to go. You understand what I'm saying? I was ready to go. It's a lonely place when only black person for miles. you know, but it was a good experience to actually see. But I know for a fact there is a lot about us that is there, and that place of the temple of heaven is one of those places that don't seem like, you know, one thing don't go with the other. Why is it that it's, you say it's just this place? Was it a place of worship? What is this? And why is it like this? And they don't have an answer for you. That's how I know it's something to it. You know what I'm saying? But it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. There's many places there. The palace was that's all I gotta say. Because you paid this money to go into the palace, and all you get to see is this basically the outside yard and closed doors. I was like, you know what, China, y'all need your ass whooped for this one. But that's how people. That's what you saw. You know what I'm saying? The last emperor stopped living inside the forbidden city in the 1950s. So now it's just nothing but a big museum where you can see, you know, certain areas are open and stuff like that. The throne room, and there ain't much nothing in there but a chair. It's just like overblown, but that's just how they are. You understand what I'm saying? But it was an interesting trip. And I want to let you guys go because I don't want this video to go too long. But I thought you guys might want to hear the backstory of what happened with me inside of China. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.